Welcome to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank that brings you market views and insights on the go.
Welcome to Cut to the Chase. Today is Monday, the 27th of July. I'm Daniel Lam, your host for the podcast. The threat is stronger than its execution. This famous chess quote from Emanuel Lasker, the second world chess champion and one of my favorite players, came to my mind this morning, specifically linked to the dollar yen. Now, for the longest time, this axiom of Lasker's has been working well for the Bank of Japan, which can move the dollar yen with their jawboning and threats of intervention. However, over the recent past, these rhetorics has become less and less effective. Now, several factors are weighing upon the yen. First of all, the gap between Japan's low interest rates versus those in the US and other major economies encourage investors to borrow cheaply in yen and invest in high-yielding assets overseas. There are concerns about Japan's fiscal outlook, with the country's debt burden exceeding 200% of gross domestic product, which is the highest amongst major economies, as well as the Japan government's persistent budget deficits. And all this is masked by the fact that the majority of Japanese government debt is domestically held. Finally, the conflict in the Middle East led to elevated oil prices, and Japan imports almost all of its energy, with more than 95% of its oil imports coming from the Middle East. Higher oil prices means that Japan must pay more for energy imports in US dollar, boosting demand for foreign currency at the expense of the yen. So this is leading to concerns about domestic inflation becoming more entrenched. Japanese officials see more evidence that companies are passing higher cost on to customers more quickly than in the past. That also squeezes margins for domestically focused businesses. So what can the BOJ do about the sliding yen, as the threat of intervention does not seem to be working so well lately? Well, in our podcast called The Silver Bullet on the 7th of July this year, we believe the BOJ has moved their quote-unquote line of defense from the 160 level to around the 165 level for the dollar yen, where they are likely to be carrying out direct intervention. However, this would be more of a technical fix rather than a move in the fundamentals. In order to really send a strong message to the markets, they would need to carry out rate hikes in order to lessen the interest rate gap versus the US and the other major economies. That is all from me for today. As always, if you enjoy this podcast, please don't forget to rate and like it. Thanks for listening, and we wish you a happy day ahead.
Thank you for listening to Standard Chartered Money Insights, a podcast series by Standard Chartered Bank. For more details, visit Market Views on the Go on our website or click the link in the description.